People who quit their jobs on the first day, what was your I'm outta here moment? When the microwave in the lunchroom was coin activated. Worked in a hotel for a day. No one told me where anything was. Got chewed out for it. Guests enjoying their meals told me to pay no Mindy was doing a good job and that my boss is a cunt. I told the manager that I was quitting and wouldn't be doing the next shift. I arrived the next day, returning a work uniform, and my supervisor approached me and yelled at me for being late. I told her I already quit, but if I was working, technically I was 5 hours early for my shift. Absolute nutcases. The not getting told how to something then getting told off for doing it wrong thing happened to me. I was so mad. Got told to put something on shelves by checkout. Asked if there's any specific way it needs to be done. Get told no, idiot, it's not hard, you just put as much as you can fit on the shelf. Stack stuff on shelf. Why didn't you follow protocol around displaying stuff here? You have to count exactly how many you use for stock control and display them a certain way. Thought that one was a one-off, but the next day I asked what I should be doing after a busy period. There's nothing to do for a bit. Make us all coffee to practice using the machine. Halfway through making coffee, why haven't you done really important job? You don't have time to be taking coffee breaks. This was my trainer versus the manager. Turns out the trainer didn't want someone else working with her, so she sabotaged me and set me up for the manager to catch me doing the wrong thing she'd told me to do. I told them they clearly have some issues to work out among themselves and quit. Dang, that trainer sounds like an absolute garbage person to purposely get you in trouble. Frown. It was like something out of a sitcom. It took me a while to realize what was going on because I truly believed people didn't act like that in real life and this must be a joke someone is playing. I was waiting for the camera crew to jump out and for everyone to laugh at how pranked I got. I got a job at a Build-A-Bear knockoff at the end of a mall that wasn't very busy. My interview with the owners was interesting. They were an older couple who said that they had wanted to open a Chick-fil-A, but you need about $1 million to do that. My first day, one other girl was working, and she didn't really talk to me. I had basically no training and she disappeared into the back. I was standing at the register area, which was underneath a giant storybook mushroom. A mother and her young son walk in and start to look at the bear skin options. I greeted them and left them to look around. They ended up leaving after a couple minutes and my coworker reappeared from the back with a cordless phone and handed it to me. It was my boss. He told me that when a customer walks in, he wants me to come out from under the mushroom to them. Come out from the mushroom. After he finished speaking to me, I hung up and went to my coworker and asked about the phone call. She said the place has cameras set up and the owners watch them from their house and call in a lot. I did not come back to work after that day. Fast food chain. I was 17. I found out during training that the place had been robbed 3 times in the past month and one employee was seriously injured. Not worth $5 HR. Edit, for those asking about the pay and the time, this was the U.S. state of Georgia in 2004. Took a summer job at a textile plant and the trainer said, forget about taking a break if you want to stay caught up. Took a job at DQ. Paid training wage and first day made it clear we weren't to take our breaks. Got a job at Wendy's where they paid minimum and told us to take our breaks, so I quit DQ after just 1 day. Was the training wage below minimum wage? Went into an Italian restaurant for my first day of work and I got 3 red flags on the very first day. 1, the manager said he had lots of hours for me and getting shifts would be no problem. Every single other employee told me that they were struggling for hours and that they had no idea why they hired me. 2, everyone said the manager was an asshole. Even the customers. 3, it was my first day there, and I actually had to teach the woman training me how to do 1 or 2 things. Probably hired you to replace that woman. At my last job I was unwittingly hired to replace the person training me. Turns out she had been caught falsifying paperwork in a pretty serious way, but she was also so good at her job in every other aspect that they decided to keep her around long enough to train her replacement before confronting and firing her. The whole time she kept voicing her confusion as to why they were hiring me when they didn't need another employee in that section. 2 weeks later I inherited all of her projects and she was gone. They gave me her work phone but never wiped it. Also I got personal calls from her friends who didn't know she had been fired for months. I hated that place. Important reminder to keep a personal phone even if you get a work phone. Edit, I had a friend who was fired at 10 a.m. and her company phone, which was her only phone, was turned off by 10:30. It happened while traveling as well, so a shitty situation on top of a shitty situation. Same for computer if you can afford a spare. If you need to keep personal stuff on your employer's hardware, make sure it's backed up. This is somewhat more crucial with more people being remote the past year. That laptop might feel like it's yours, but you might find yourself locked out one morning. My very first job was at a little drive-in restaurant close to my high school. I showed up to work the first day. The lady said I had to pay her $50 for training. She showed me around the place and said that my pay would be $4.50 hour as a car hop. This was in 2010, and all the tips I made went into a bucket with all the other girls' tips. At the end of the night, she counted up tips, kept 20% for herself, and split the rest up evenly among every employee. Also, part of our job was 1 day a week we had to spend 4 hours cleaning her house. It seemed super shady. I literally left after listening to her go over all these rules. My dad was pissed until I explained, and another girl confirmed, and my dad agreed I did the right thing. Shady and highly illegal. Tip pooling is legal but is supposed to be only with other tipped employees. Her skimming 20% off the top is not legal. Pretty sure you can't charge someone to train them for a job you hired them for. A business owner in our town keeps all tips, and says she redistributes them to employees at Christmas. Right. At the place where my sister's friend works, the owner collects the tips and tips out based how well he thinks you did. WTF? Report these people. So many stories in here of people getting shit on and just taking it. I was hired at a chain restaurant to be a hostess. I was so excited because my last job was washing dishes, and because of my eczema, I had to quit. It was too painful to do that job. So, I arrived at my new job dressed up to be a hostess, and those mpers took me back to the kitchen to do dishes because the dishwasher just quit. I noped out of there real fast. Salesman for Kirby vacuums. First sale call was to a single elderly woman who was supporting her son in hospital. They got us in the door by offering a free carpet clean as a demonstration. The supervisor training me pushed and pushed to make the sale until this old woman was in tears. Just as she was about to sign the paperwork, I asked if she actually wanted to vacuum, and she said it was lovely but she couldn't afford it. I took the paperwork away from her and said not to worry. Outside I told the supervisor I quit, to which he replied I would have been fired anyway. No love lost. I hung around for half an hour playing on my phone to make sure the supervisor left because he was a real piece of work. I got suckered into doing that when I was 17, naive, and desperate for a job. Biggest bunch of scumbags I ever met. The guy driving the van had some kind of relationship with the girl sitting shotgun, and they were arguing loudly, and she just straight up jumped out of the van while it was moving. His, and everyone else's reaction, was we should get out of here. They wanted to just ditch this poor girl in a duckin' random suburb an hour and a half from the city we drove out of. The only reason they picked her up is I swore to God in heaven above I would give everyone's names and addresses to the police. A few of them had paper out, so they didn't like that. I had been working there for like 2 weeks at this point, but didn't go back after getting home that evening. Reprehensible garbage. Actually a pretty decent product, though. I interviewed for a professional marketing assistant and got the job straight away. I was under the impression that I would be an assistant to the man I was interviewed by. When I showed up for my first day, the same waiting room I was in the previous day was full of people. I quickly learned that we were all hired, and that I would be a door-to-door salesperson selling some pretty useless shit. I spent my entire day inside a Starbucks applying for other jobs and went home, got paid, but never went back. A similar thing happened to me. I feel your pain. I applied for an event planner job, having previously worked as a wedding planner, and got an interview with a company based in the city. Went to the interview the next day and something was off, but I couldn't figure it out. They asked me to work a trial day the day after, so I said yes. Get to the morning briefing and my trainer said we'd be working away from the office, so I'm thinking, what sort of event is it? What would I be doing? How exciting. I'd be standing on a street corner in the rain trying to get OPE, so sign up to give to charities. What a scam. Edit to add, OPE stands for Old Age Pensioner. I thought it was universal acronym for native English speakers, but I may have been wrong. At least with marketing assistant I can kinda see how they turned it into door-to-door salespeople. I can't see how event planner turned into a street corner sign-up sheet.